Hey guys, I just want to do another little video here and continue to talk about narcissism and dismantling narcissism, and being a narcissistic detective. So being a detective, is hard sometimes, and sometimes you're just asking, trying to find answers to something. All right, you're trying to find answers, and a lot of the times they end up being why, or wanting to know why somebody did something to somebody else, or what happened, or and then you keep asking why and why and why keeps coming up. That a lot of times when you start asking why, you have to realize that people are having psychological problems, and it just ends up leading to a psychological problem being revealed, that people were going through. And so you have to realize that you could put all things in life into levels, and there being different levels to things. And so if you apply this level system to narcissism, you start to really get into the different levels. And, I was going over, some of this over here the other day, which, some of these notes. But one being the narcissist having a displacement. Okay. So there was a void that was left in somebody, okay, in their life. And it could be perfectly natural. These things happen, okay, and how people adjust to them, how they deal with them is a whole nother story, okay? So if you're able to deal with them in a healthy way, that being repair, regrow, replace, okay, the displacement, okay, with something positive, that could happen, okay? But if that displacement, okay, that void, whether, and that could be anything, could be a parental figure, could be a relationship, could be something that left somebody psychological and emotionally scarred, has made them jaded, okay? So that's the why. So being a narcissistic detective, you start to answer the why. And more times than not, it started with this person seeking attention, okay? So having a displacement, that's something that wasn't there, and yet wanting to fill that with attention, that they would go to extreme measures sometimes, and at all costs sometimes, to get that attention, okay? And they want credit for this attention, okay? And so being a narcissistic detective, you start to see little things that people, they might admit to, they might leave little clues of things that they did to answer these questions why, just so that their name could come up. And then that is when a narcissist would actually psychologically get off on hearing their own name, or them getting credit for causing trouble. And that's all they did was want to get a little bit of attention in the first place. But that spans, and that being one, well, really the displacement is one, because that happened first. But one, being seeking attention, okay? Two, being that causing some type of jealousy, okay? So how many times do you know that people have been jealous in your lifetime of you? How many times do you know people that had more than you, people that were better off financially than you, people that had some type of family structure that was stronger than yours, people that were associated with other groups more than you were, but yet they're still jealous of you, okay? How many times does that happen? It's like every time, right? Well, and for whatever reason, these people have psychological problems, okay? So they have psychological problems, and it's, you can only start to decipher it and be a a detective, okay, a psychological detective, and you keep asking why, why, how, why, and it keeps coming back to why. But 9 times out of 10, it ends up leading to this person seeking some type of attention, okay, which is ultimately narcissism, because they wanted to get that for themselves, okay, and that's it. Modern day, they might call that clout chasing, okay. So if you have anybody that says somebody was clout chasing, that means that they're trying to get attention for something that really wasn't valid. They're making themselves a public spectacle. Might be saying your name or something. Might be saying somebody else's name. Might be trying to name drop. But and that could get out of control, and does. So the next level is envy. So how does jealousy turn into envy? Okay. Somebody who could be envious, and that being on different levels too, being envy of good things, and it could be positive, but more times out of not, it ends up spinning into a negative, okay? Because the next one is greed, okay? That being like level 4, where somebody is, they've already felt these emotions, seeking attention, jealous. Now they're envious, and now that's turning into greed, where greedy people want to take things from others. Okay. And that might be this void that is in them being filled with your energy. That might be that void that's empty inside them being filled with your hard work. That could be that void because they don't have nothing going on. Their life is, in this beta state where they would say some really toxic and evil phrases like, it's so fun to do things like this, okay, play psychological games, and they think they're so smart. But are they smart, and are they really smart? Because they will really leave a trail leading back to them. Okay, so when you're being a narcissistic detective, you start to find out somebody has psychological problems, and they went through these stages of attention, jealousy, envy, greed, and it comes into step 5 of that crossing the line, and that going over the tipping point where it affects you, and that being affecting somebody else. And at that point, a trespass is committed, and they start to trespass against you. Okay, so that trespass on an easy level, it could be a 6, and that being a lie. Okay, and the thing about it is that they will be underneath this premise of law. Because who are you going to call the police on? And you're going to call the police and go, yeah, well, somebody's clout chasing. Somebody's trying to get attention. What's the police going to do? All right. You're going to call the police and go, hey, yeah, well, so-and-so is jealous, and they're getting really jealous. And there's some jealousy tendencies and some funny stuff going on. They're playing these games. And, you could do that. And actually making a note of the behavior, and if that was actually documented, might be right. But at that time, they're not going to do anything because there hasn't been a trespass committed, okay, a crime committed, and that could later on get to detrimental levels of 9 and 10, where that's your life, okay. But who are you going to call the police for about these people, right? You're going to call the police and go, well, so-and-so is attention seeking, they're jealous, they're envious, and they're greedy. What are the police going to do? They're going to send all units and come on down? Nope, probably not. doesn't even really sound like it's an emergency yet, does it? Well, if you could start to document, this behavior, because they're going to leave a trail back to them, a breadcrumb trail back to them. Because of that narcissistic tendency, they're going to want attention. They're going to want to take that credit. And it could just be for sabotaging and messing your stuff up. Okay? So recognizing this is a whole nother story, and you're going to have to recognize this and go, man, I'm going to have to run or get away from anybody who starts to show this. And when that's a family member, an associate, a friend, somebody who you're counting on in life, you're doing business with in life, you're expecting to be on a human moral code of conduct that would show some basic human decency. And more times than not, they end up crossing the line. So people cross the line. All right. And that being in 5, where you got to, you're either going to have to go into self-defense mode or run. Okay. Fight or flight. You know what I'm saying? So, because there's nobody really to police narcissism. And that being the underlying problem in the whole universe is narcissism. Okay. And I'm going to wrap this one up, though. I'm going to do another one here in a second. So yeah, being a narcissistic detective, going through the levels, I want to reiterate that a little bit. 1, being that there's a void in somebody's life. Let's go 2, saying that's a displacement. Okay, that causes a displacement. Okay, which is a vacuum. Okay, that vacuum starts to turn into a parasitic, vampiric type of state where they're feeding off of your energy. Okay, and that's being filled with somebody else's energy. Okay, so it becomes a psychological problem. Okay, and I guess we'll go with 3 with being attention seeking. Next being jealous. Next being envious. Okay, if that crosses the line, into 5, you got greed. Okay, then somebody being greedy who has way, way, way more than you on so many levels, and yet they're greedy of you, yet they're jealous of you, yet they are envious of you. Wow. So you're gonna have to start to see this and realize people have psychological problems that they don't have the police for. You can't call the police on these people, right? Versus saying people are acting freaking crazy. You're gonna have to deal with it. Okay, that sucks, but it's like part of life, right? The police aren't gonna do anything for you. Okay, they're not gonna protect you for narcissism. Okay, so you're gonna have to. That's why I'm trying to talk about that and deal with that. You know what I'm saying? And of total avoidance of the people would be the best cost at all. Okay, that being 1. So displacement, attention seeking, jealousy, envious, greed, and that crossing the line into a lie. That crosses the line into somebody telling a lie. Okay, and more times than not, that truth eventually will come out. Okay, and and that could be a breadcrumb, a trail back to the narcissist. Okay, unless they're not getting credit for something, they're not going to want to be happy for that. They might even start admitting stuff. Okay, more times than not, because then they're getting the attention that they wanted in the first place. Okay, so I'm going to go and wrap this up. It's only going on 15 minutes already, so we'll do another one here in a second. All right.